Ladies and gentlemen, a new version of Minecraft has been released. This is version 1.9 of the Bedrock edition. If you don't know what the Bedrock edition of Minecraft is, it's the version of the game that you can buy in the Windows Store, play on mobile devices, on Xbox and on the Nintendo Switch. This version was released a couple of days ago for most platforms, should have rolled out on all of the platforms by now. It's taken me a few days to make this video because there is a lot of new content in this version. My name is slicedlime. Let me take you on a guided tour of all that new content. Starting with blocks and items, a lot of new things added in this version. Two new flower types, they are the Lily of the Valley and the Cornflower, a white and a blue flower type that you will find in flower forests and on plains. There are new types of signs for all of the different wood types. Of course, there was the oak type before, but now there's also spruce, birch, jungle, acacia and dark oak types. A huge amount of new stairs, slabs and wall types in this version. There are stairs and slab types for stone, unpolished and polished, granite, diorite and andesite stairs and slabs, and walls for the unpolished versions of those stone types, sandstone and red sandstone walls, smooth sandstone and smooth red sandstone stairs and slabs, a full block of smooth stone, smooth quartz stairs and slabs, brick walls, stone brick walls and mossy stone brick stairs, slabs and walls. Mossy Cobblestone stairs and slabs as well, and on the Nether and Andesite of materials we have Nether Brick walls now, red Nether Brick stairs, slabs and walls, and stone brick stairs, slabs and walls, and prismarine walls. That's quite a lot of new block types, but that's not all. We also have some bug fixes and changes to other blocks. Cauldrons can now hold lava in addition to potions and water. Scaffolding can now be placed on glass, and more blocks can be placed on the scaffolding, including mob heads and flower pots. Let's move on to gameplay changes and fixes. If you have a tamed animal pet and you have named it with a name tag, then a notification is now sent to the chat if that animal dies. Sometimes players could spawn in mid-air and fall to their death while a world was loading. That has been fixed in this version. In terms of controls, there was an issue that could cause a sudden change of direction if you were playing with the touchscreen controls, and touch controls will no longer get you stuck in a sneak position when you're underwater. Speaking of touch controls, they now work correctly with scaffolding when using the swap jump and sneak setting, and auto jump will also now work when you're trying to walk through scaffolding. End gateways now work correctly, and speaking of the end, Dragon's Breath can now be quickly collected reliably, even in multiplayer. And once you're done collecting that Dragon's Breath, defeating the Ender Dragon now drops the correct amount of XP and generates a Dragon Egg, even if your world has been converted from a console edition. When there was a boat nearby and you were traveling near water, there was a rare issue where you would get teleported into the boat. That's fixed in this version. If you tried crafting with the recipe book when you had a full inventory, there was a bug that could result in losing items. That's fixed in this version as well. Vines collected with the silk touch tools couldn't be used in banner designs. That's fixed in this version. And dropped items will now interact correctly with slabs and glass. There's a change to tripwires. They are now activated when you break them, unless you break them with shears. If you had horizontal flowing water, then that could turn into bubble columns over soul sand. That is no longer the case. And the trident throwing animation got mixed up with the new crossbow animation. That is fixed in this version. Let's move on and talk about mobs. Cats can now spawn in all villages, even in villages generated before the update to 1.8, that is the previous major update. Pandas have had some fixes too. Pandas will now panic when they get set on fire, and the feeding animation for pandas was broken. That's fixed in this version. Slimes didn't spawn properly in slime chunks, they do now, and Endermen will now once again make the scream sound if you make them angry. Killing a phantom with a fire aspect sword meant they didn't drop their phantom membrane properly. They do in this version. And skeletons will now sit correctly when riding spiders and skeleton horses. And finally, in terms of mobs, the position of riders on mounts that allow multiple passengers have been fixed. Some graphical fixes in this version: items in your hand would sometimes appear completely white, that's fixed in this version. And the texture for beacon beams was not correct, that is also fixed. Shulkers could turn black when attacking a player, and sheep and cats would appear black after being spawned with a spawn egg. Tamed llamas, on the other hand, would become bioluminescent creatures on light up when their inventory was opened. And strays had incorrect texture layers, that's also fixed in this version. Finally, the particles produced by witches have been turned purple rather than black. A whole slew of user interface fixes in this version. Let me mention a couple of the bigger changes. If you have realms in your world list that have expired, you can now delete them from the list. And there's a new feedback button in the pause menu, and using that you can get links to the Minecraft feedback site, to the issue tracker, the bug tracker, and to support. There are a number of experimental features in this version as well. You have to switch on the experimental gameplay toggle when you create your world to access these, otherwise these features will not exist. There is the Bedrock engine scripting system. It is for Windows 10 only, so this will only work on Windows 10, and in essence it lets you write JavaScript to script certain minigame-like aspects of the game. There are guides and samples for this on the Minecraft wiki. I will not be going through the details here. More experimental things: the pillagers that you might have seen in Minecraft Java Edition snapshots are experimental features in this version. There's also a change to the world generator that generates bamboo in jungle biomes now. New types of blocks added in this version in experimental mode that don't have their functionality yet. There are lanterns, cartography tables, fletching tables, grindstones, bells, barrels, smithing tables, smokers, and blast furnaces. These also are things that you might recognize if you've followed my update videos for Minecraft Java Edition snapshots. Let's move on to commands. There's a new game rule. You can switch it with the /game rule command, and it's called show death messages. With this game rule on, there will be a message posted in chat every time a player or a tamed mob dies, otherwise there will not be. There's another new game rule called immediate respawn, which is also found on the options page. With this option on, players will immediately respawn rather than getting a death screen with a respawn option. Tags have been added into this version. You can now add a custom tag to an entity or player, and then use a selector argument to select players or entities with that tag. And functions have been updated as well. Functions are now finally pre-compiled, which means their performance improves at runtime. Functions can now also be run every tick, which creates an update loop. And the number of commands run through a function can be limited with a new game rule called function command limit. The default command count is 10,000. The Bedrock version of Minecraft now supports raw JSON text in commands, signs, titles, and books, much like Java Edition has done for a very long time. Many of the text component types supported by Java Edition are not supported by Bedrock yet though. However, the translate parameter now works in this version. Command block fixes. Repeating command blocks now keep their always active state when you clone them. And the commands from command blocks no longer extend to other dimension. Remember that commands in Bedrock Edition are versioned, which means that once you write a command into a command block, it will keep working the same way until that command block is updated by a player. And finally, in the command section, falling block entities like falling sand can now be killed using commands. Couple of notes for add-ons. There are updated templates for Minecraft 1.9 with new resources and behaviors, and you can download those from minecraft.net/addons. And there's new functionality connected to the tags I mentioned in the commands section. There's a new has_tag filter in components that allow checks to see if an entity has a certain tag. Finally, one note for the marketplace. Realms subscriptions can now again be purchased if you're playing on Xbox One. And those were all the major changes in Minecraft Bedrock Edition 1.9.0. If you want to get this version, you can do that from the App Store or wherever you normally update apps on your device. The update should automatically be available for download right at this moment. And that was all from me for this time. My name is slicedlime, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please help me out in return and leave a like. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Minecraft news, then please subscribe to my channel where I do update videos for every new version and snapshot released. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.